Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Social Progress Podcast. This is going to be episode 37, I believe. Just a disclaimer for anybody who's viewing, I am recording live on Instagram live stream. So you guys are going to see me recording live stream, and then I'm going to re-upload this for viewing and listening on the Social Progress Podcast YouTube and Spotify. So make sure if you guys don't catch the live stream that you guys check out the replay. Today is Tuesday, August 27th, and it's 2:05 p.m. I just like to clock like the time and date, etc. For anybody as well who's interested in creating a podcast or creating social media, etc., and you may not have all the tools and equipment, I just wanted to start this podcast off by encouraging you to go ahead and start that podcast. Right now I'm actually utilizing my phone to record this message. I am live streaming, like I said, again on Instagram live stream, and I'm going to re-upload the video and the audio on both YouTube and Spotify. The cool thing about Instagram live stream is that everything is recorded here via video and audio, and I found the website where you can download the episode into both video and audio form. So YouTube is for video form, Spotify is for audio form, etc. I do have a regular microphone that I got. What's up with my words flown? I do have a microphone that I got from TikTok, which is pretty good quality, etc. But I am charging my phone right now, so there's just a lot of different things going into play here. But I just wanted to encourage anybody out there who maybe wanted to start their own podcast. You may not have the professional camera, the professional laptop or softwares, the professional microphone, etc., or the high quality sound. I'm at a public library right now. I requested if I can come into their meeting room. Luckily they do have a meeting room, and luckily they allowed me to get in here. Oh my god, I'm just recognizing Adventure Begins at Your Library Village Neighborhood Watch with the whole eye looking at me. That's a little creepy, low-key. But anyways, I just wanted to share that message, just a message of encouragement, and we're just going to jump into it. Welcome back to the Social Progress Podcast. I am your host, Tomorrow Medicine Woman, or Chelsea, and this is episode 37, I believe. I just uploaded a 30-minute episode yesterday, sharing my in good faith journey, just sharing encouragement for you guys to take your leap of faith. So if you're interested in any type of encouragement or motivation in regards to taking a leap of faith into the unknown, into the, you just don't know what's going to happen next, you don't know how you're going to do this leap, etc., etc., I just highly encourage you to listen to that episode, and I'll be coming up with more podcast episodes too. But in today's episode, I wanted to talk about my experience in Portland, Oregon, and I titled this The Belly of the Beast. So when I was in Portland, Oregon on my in good faith travel journey, I ended up in Portland, Oregon, and I had no place to go. So if you guys have been following my journey, you guys have been seeing that I've been promoting my GoFundMe. This is what helps with my safe shelter, transportation, food, water, and inner child play. A lot of people were like, why aren't you working? Or you can't just be out there begging for money. But when I took my leap of faith, a part of me taking my leap of faith with God and my ancestors and investing in myself was a part of my finances. I did leave my 8-to-5 job, and Mother God, it has been encouraging me to create my social media platform, to create my podcast, and to trust that my finances were taken care of. Now, I also want people to understand, for anybody who may be going on a leap of faith journey, or you may be transitioning in your financial life or whatnot, I did have to adjust my finances and adjust my lifestyle to meet my financial ability, right? Meaning I stopped buying so much new clothes, I stopped buying so much new shoes, I stopped buying new electronics and technology, because these are the things that I invested my money in, right? So I really had to adjust my financial spending, my financial way of life to accommodate where I am right now. And really, I have been blessed to have been helped by family or friends. It's such an interesting journey because I didn't want to come to the family. I didn't want to ask the family for help for a number of reasons. But one of the main reasons is that, like, my family just doesn't understand my journey, and it just doesn't make sense to them. And they want me to do certain things that I'm not being called to do. So I need a space where, they're open and willing to support the journey that I'm on, and that I can, help out in different other ways. So that's that there. And so Portland, Oregon, on my Inga Faith travel journey, this was like my 11th or 12th location. I had just left Seattle, and I went towards, or was, no. I had just left. Portland was before Seattle. So I was on my way to Seattle, and I stopped in Portland. I was there for like almost like 4 or 5 days. I had nowhere to go, and along the journey I learned that, like, if you're experiencing houselessness or you don't have a place to stay, I invest in like the libraries, the public libraries. I go to like cafes, and I buy a coffee or a tea or like a cookie or whatever, so that way you're just kind of giving back to the space you're using. They have AC, they have Wi-Fi, sometimes they give you free water, or you can just buy like your tea or coffee. But one of the places I go in the late night, overnight, so I make sure that I'm not outside, is a Denny's. So I ended up going to a 24-hour Denny's spot, and I was there, and I ordered me some food, and I was just going to be there overnight. I was calling for people to support my GoFundMe so that I can get shelter, safe shelter. And a lot of people, first of all, asked me, like, aren't you worried, like, being homeless? Or a lot of people messaged me with concern, like, I don't like to see you, like, out there being houseless and stuff. And they told me all these reasons of why I should, like, have a job for sustainability. But when we're talking about taking a leap of faith to travel throughout the country on a spiritual journey, like, you surrender your life, you surrender your money, you surrender your contacts. I had so many people that I can call. I had people where I can go to certain locations, but if God said don't go there, I wasn't going to go there. If God said leave, I was going to leave, and it was for specific reasons. A lot of people don't understand. For me personally, as a healer, and I'm learning that I'm a shaman in practice, is that I go to certain locations to uplift the vibrational frequency of the planet. There may be some areas who are like high crime rate. There may be some areas where there's missing children. There may be some areas where the land is just dry of water, and certain people go there, and they do certain things. They pray, they meditate, and I'm still learning how to, like, what a healer and a shaman looks like for me. So Mother God really just encouraged me to just be there wherever I was, and wherever I was, my physical presence being there did something to the area that I was at. So, I guess for anybody else who's taking their journey, any type of journey that is like taboo and unpopular, any type of journey that requires you to move away from your family, move away from your community, move away from everything and everyone you knew, moving out of the 8 to 5 job and investing in, a social media platform, the podcast, transitioning all of that into a business. It's going to take a lot of sacrifice. It's going to take a lot of commitment, a lot of discipline. And I'm going to tell you, I had none of that in the beginning of the journey. I was like, half the time when I wasn't making money, I was pissed off at God. Like, what are you doing? Why are you allowing me to be out here houseless? Blah, 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 blah. But the cool thing about this journey, and the beautiful thing about God, is God did not allow me to go without a safe shelter, like a hotel or a home, because regardless of what was going on, even if I didn't have a hotel or a place to go, I was either inside the airport, I was inside the Greyhound station, the Amtrak station. I slept at a hospital at a point in time, in a chapel. So God didn't allow me to go without for more than 3 days and 3 nights, which was the cool thing about this. And I believe personally the reason why God allowed me, now that I've worked through the journey, the reason why God allowed me to go through that adversity, like being homeless or not having the finances, was so that I can call on God and ask God, and also experience the things that I experienced. Because if I didn't go out and experience the things I experienced, I wouldn't have the confidence today. I wouldn't have the discernment, because I'm such a trusting and kind person. And I don't think that everybody has the heart and the eyes like I do, but I just kind of project that out to everybody. Kind of like thinking it's just gonna bounce back, and you never know who you're getting here. It's like one of those machines. I'm seeing one of those machines in the spirit in my eye. Like when you go to like a Denny's or a restaurant, and it's, the claw, and you like pick a toy and stuff like that. So you just never know what you're gonna get. But when I was in Portland, Oregon, I titled this The Belly of the Beast, because it reminded me of a friend, another tomorrow woman actually, who's on her spiritual journey as well. When I was expressing to her about what I had just gone through, because I needed to speak to somebody, I needed like to release, it was such heavy emotion. She was like, wow, Chelsea, it's like the story in the Bible. You're like Jonah when you went into the belly of the whale for 3 days and 3 nights. And I was like, oh my God, like she made me feel so much better. And it just clicked, because, okay, story time. So when I was in Portland, Oregon, I had nowhere to go, right? And so I ended up going to the Denny's, because it was like 11, 12 o'clock at night. I had nowhere to go. I did get a donation, like, okay, wait. I had nowhere to go, so I ended up going to the Denny's, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna purchase a meal. And I was fasting that weekend too. I was fasting, so I broke my fast with just like straight up like pancakes, junk, meat, etc. But I mean, it was like food and a meal compared to like, like McDonald's or chips and stuff like that, which I'd be doing. So anyways, I went there and I purchased a meal, and I was talking, there was a young guy there, and I was letting him know, like, I'm looking for like an affordable hotel and stuff. And he was one of the servers, or like the dishwasher, and he was like, just hang out, and I'll recommend some places to you. So I was like, okay, cool. And then I was doing my thing, I was sitting down, I was eating and everything, and I got a ping on my phone, and one of my brothers, like my actual brother, my youngest brother, he sent me money, and I had enough for a hotel. So I was like, bet, I'm about to go book for the hotel. And I was like considering, like, should I just wait it out until the next day, so that way I could have a full day in the hotel, or should I just go to the hotel right now because I need a place to stay, and figure out the rest in the morning? So these are like the questions and decisions that I had to go through, right? What is it like? Should I just book the hotel room tonight because I need a place to stay in the nighttime? It's already 12 o'clock. I'm going to have to clock out at 11 o'clock in the morning, but at least I'll have a safe, warm place to be, and it'll be indoors. Or it was like, should I just sacrifice and be outside, or be at the, Denny's for all this time, and then maybe go outside when the sun comes up and spend time until clock-in time, which is normally in the hotels around 11 a.m. And then all of a sudden, this older man comes to me, and he sits down at my table, and he like says hello and introduces himself and everything. And the younger kid is busy, but he kind of like sees him and gives like this look or whatever, right? And this dude seems to be very well known in the local Denny's, because everybody was talking to him, and he was kind of just like calling the shots, like, hey, give me a coffee, or, oh, I'm gonna go over here, blah blah blah. So anyways, he like sat down, introduced himself or whatever, and then he went to go pay for his meal or whatnot. So he like went to the cash register, moved away from my table, and then the young kid came back, and he was telling me about some hotels that are in the area. And this older male like overheard the conversation, I guess, and he's like, oh, are you looking for a place to stay? And I was like, yeah, for the night. I didn't really like say too much detail about how long I'm going to be there or what I'm doing there, as best as I could, just for safety reasons. But I was like, yeah, I'm just looking for a safe place to stay for the night. And he's like asking the young kid, like, where did you tell her to go? And the young kid was telling him, and he's like, F that, you're not gonna send her over there, like there's roaches over there and there's rats over there and it's like super expensive and blah blah blah. He's like, don't worry about it, girl, I got you. And he's like an older male, mind you, he's like in his 60s or something, and he's like, don't worry about it, girl, I got you, I'm gonna show you where I stay, you're gonna have the best views, you don't have to worry about nothing. And I was like, oh no, it's okay, like, you know, what do I have to do for that? And he's like, just be you. Like, he was being super chill and super calm, and like we knew each other. He's like, just be you and just chill, you don't have to do nothing, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, am I gonna have to give you money? Or like, when it comes to guys, like especially older males, like, because they know what they want and they expect like women like who are like looking in that section to know what they want too, quote unquote. But I was like, what do I need to do or whatever? Like, you know, he's like, nah, save your money. Like, just be you. You don't got to do a dang thing, etc. And he was like, you don't got to worry about it. This is my place. Like, I run this street right here. He was talking about the area that we were in. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, think about it, and if you want to, I'm gonna go play this game over here. It was like a casino game or whatever. And he's like, I could show you it after you're done eating or whatever. It's like no rush or whatnot. So it's funny because I'm gonna pause there in the story and I'm gonna talk about how God like gives us choices, because I was like praying and asking for funds, and it wasn't coming in all day. And then all of a sudden, right before this guy comes, bing, I get a donation from my younger brother. I think it was like $50 or $60 to get a hotel. And then that's option number one, right? And then option number two is this older dude here. I don't know who he is. He's a stranger. He's inviting a stranger to his home, etc. And it's like, I'm already like becoming aware of child trafficking, becoming aware of PIMPs. It's not like an environment or a lifestyle or an environment that I'm like totally around to see the flags and see the pings and alerts. But I already knew, like, the way he was dressed really nice. And I'm still like learning to discern, be discerning of the people who are around you, their intentions, and like, yeah, just their intentions or whatnot. So he went to go play his game or whatever. I finished eating and stuff, and then I was gonna like finish up and close up and take care of the bill, which we didn't. And that's a whole nother story. It was just weird. There was just a lot of things going on, and that's why I know, like, it was beyond physical. It was more spiritual. And I told my friend about what happened with the meal and stuff like that too, and she's like, nah, I think she was involved in it, but I'll talk about that in a bit. So because I didn't have so much money in that moment, and I was pretty much like desperate to have a place to stay, I prayed about it and I thought about it, and I got good signs to go with him, right? So I ended up going with him. It was a total stranger, didn't know who he was, didn't know what was gonna happen or whatever, but just felt safe. So it ended up that he was staying right across the street from the Denny's in a pretty cool apartment place, and it had a view of downtown Portland, right? And so it was nighttime. We went to his place. He showed me his place, introduced me to his place and everything. And then he like brought me into his room and stuff, and he was like, sit on the bed, and my intuition automatically clicked, do not sit on that bed. And these are just things that your body tells you, so that the people like, so he later on, as time passed, I found that he was a pimp. I don't know exactly if he was a pimp professionally or if he was just like a pimp, and the woman knew he was a pimp and just did his pimping things, okay? But he had multiple women coming in, all ages. But my intuition was like, do not sit on that bed. So I didn't sit on the bed, and I sat on the floor, and obviously the floor was dirty and stuff, because it apparently, I guess, he walks into the house with his shoes and stuff. And he was like, go ahead, sit on the bed. And I'm like, I'm okay, it's okay. And I was like, no, it's okay, I don't want to sit on the bed. And he was like, oh, you're making me feel uncomfortable now, because I don't want you to be on that floor, it's dirty. So he got up and he gave me the chair he was sitting at, which was in front of his window, which had like the view of downtown Portland, Oregon. BTW side note, Portland, Oregon is so filled with people who are houseless. There are tents everywhere. It's like super cool that the city and the government allows the people who are houseless to stay in tents and stay pretty much anywhere around the street. But it was overwhelming and it was bombarded. Like, not that being in Portland, Oregon made me understand how it could be frustrating for people in the community or the businesses to have houseless people everywhere. Not because they want to treat them bad or they don't like want to help them, but because like these houseless people, guys, they were camped out in front of businesses, restaurants. They were smoking crack, they were smoking they were doing what is that popular drug that's going around these days? But it was that drug to where like you're going down like this and you're like going down to the ground, like kind of like a hunchback. But it was because of the drugs. It was the thing, like it's popular now and everybody is doing it. It's not, it'll click. But you know, there was needles on the floor. I don't think necessarily with the actual needle, just the syringe. There was people straight up smoking out of the foil, people with their pants all the way down, their butt crack was out, their ass was showing, and you know, there was trash everywhere. And it was just understandable to me how frustrating it could be, but the business owners kind of just let it go, and the customers were kind of just, you know, just like, this is the day, and there's nothing they could do about it, right? But yeah, going back to being in that space, the pimp's place, I was sitting on the chair. He was showing me the view. He's like, this is the best hotel you're gonna get, like this is the best view you're gonna get and everything. And I was like, okay, cool. And then he had a couple people coming in and out. There was like some males and stuff coming in and out, and he was also like a DRUG dealer. And then I was like, oh my god, Chelsea, what did you get yourself into? Why am I here? And now that I'm talking about it, I'm seeing how God gave me a choice. Like, are you going to take the finances that I just gave you to get into this safe space, or are you gonna have kind of like a cheap mentality and like a poverty mentality, which is what I've been unlearning on this in good faith travel journey, right? And you're gonna like think that you need to save this money so you can have money for the next day, but you're gonna put yourself in danger. But don't get me wrong, there wasn't any right or wrong answer, because I needed to be in that space so I can see what was going on around me. It could test my discernment, it could strengthen my discernment, and it could also strengthen my prayers. And I'll tell you why. The first night I was at this guy's house, right? It was late, it was nighttime and everything, and blah, blah, blah. So we were just conversating, we were talking and stuff, and he was pretty short. He was busy, people coming in and out. They were doing DRUGSs. He asked me if I did METH, and I told him no. I experienced doing that. I don't do that no more. I think he asked me if I smoked WEED, and I told him no. I just said no to everything, and I wasn't doing anything in that point anyway. So I just said no to everything, and then people were coming in and out, whatever the case was, and then I just kind of removed myself from the room because he was having guests and I was sitting outside, and he was like telling the people who are coming in, like, yeah, this is Chelsea, she's gonna be staying with me for a little bit. He was calling me into the room, and I said, so I think I was calling him like Unc or something, or like boss man, and like just to kind of like, you know, put like a space, like, okay, you the boss or whatever, but also like kind of like giving him that elder vibe, like, you know, like you're older, like be aware type. So I was like, oh, it's okay, boss man, I'm just gonna like go to bed already and be out here. I'm just gonna be over here on the couch. And he said, okay, no problem. And you know, he showed me like whatever utilities and everything in the house, blah blah blah, right? The next day I woke up and there was a girl there, and she was around my age, and apparently that was his girlfriend. So like he introduced me and stuff, and like she was up and she was cleaning, and I'm like, oh god, here we go. She was cleaning and she was moving around and shit like that. And then I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like getting my stuff, and you know, I was gonna go take a shower and everything. And he was like, what you got going on for today, girl? Do you need a place to stay again, or whatever the case? And you know, that night I prayed and I asked for confirmations, and I saw a decor, and it was an Indian decor, and he said that it was kind of already on the wall when he moved in, but it was an Indian, like a Native American decor, and it was kind of like a four corners thing, to where it was like a it was kind of like a thing where it like pointed out, like, you know, the natives, like, we utilize like northeast, southwest type, the elements, fire, water, earth, air type. So I took that as a confirmation, and then I also saw more like African decor, so I also took that as another confirmation. I'm learning I have different ancestors from different lifetimes, and just a multiple ancestors in this lifetime as well. So I took that as a confirmation. I was okay, and I was like, yeah, boss man, like, you know, if I could stay like, yeah, throughout the weekend, and then I'll be on my way, I'll be moving to my next location, that would be helpful for me. So he's like, don't worry about it, like, you're welcome here, everything's gonna be all good, like, you're welcome, you know, to the refrigerator, the utilities, blah blah blah, like, you know, just let him know when I'm coming and leaving and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, cool. So I got up and I used the restroom whenever I got ready, and his girl was kind of like moving around, and I was asking him like for certain things, and he was like, oh, you got to ask her, like, she's the lady of this house. And already that was kind of like a flag for me, like, okay, we're, you know, kind of setting that position of like, you know, she's your girl, or she's running this place, like, trust me, boo boo, like, I'm cool, I just need a place to stay, right? So she was kind of tight with me. Like, in the beginning she was a little quiet, which I understand, and then she kind of like started talking and stuff, and we started having conversation. She told me how her sister was actually Traffikaed. I'm spelling it out because like sometimes like social media platforms and stuff, they flag us for those things, which is like whatever, that's for another conversation. But why we got to do that? This is awareness and education and prevention. But anyways, so she was saying that her sister was around our age, and that, you know, she was in the sex business, and she was in the business, and she had this boyfriend or whatever, and, you know, things kind of went south, and then all of a sudden she went missing. Like, she wasn't answering her phone, there was no contact, you know, like the police was involved, there was all this stuff. And that's why I know that I was meant to be there, because I was meant to hear that testimony and that story, because I know that I'm just being led in a similar path to be aware of certain things, you know, like with the children and the youth and the women, etc. But yeah, we started talking about all of that, and she was saying like she knows that her sister was murdered, and the police kind of put it off as a missing person, or that she ran away and she doesn't want to be contacted type thing. And those are like some taboo responses when it comes to missing people. I mean, it's valid that people can just, you know, run away and not want to be found, but you just never know. Like, all of a sudden you're just going to like go off the face of the planet. Like, even when I did that, I was still at least posting on social media, and even if I wasn't going to post on social media, I was still in communication with at least somebody somewhere that was connected to like my family, or connected to etc etc. Okay, so that happened. We had a conversation. I went and go take a shower, and I just, you know, people were coming in and out, different men. When the girlfriend was there, it was all men. When the girlfriend was gone, there was women. So I was like, oh my God. And I didn't want to be there all day and just be in that space. So I was like, you know, I just got ready, did my thing, and I was like letting the dude know. I was like, AOG, I'm gonna go run to the Target and get some necessities and stuff like that. I'll be back in a little bit. And then we were coordinating and stuff like that, and he was like, okay, all good. So I went and I did my thing. I went to the Portland mall, because that's where it was, just to like, you know, pass time and just get out of that space. And when I was going around, that's when I saw a lot of the people who were houseless. I saw a lot of the people staying in tents. I saw a lot of people who were doing drugs. And it was just all out there in the public. It was just all out there in front of the businesses. It was in front of the courthouse, just everywhere, and the police allowed them to do so. I believe the woman said that they give them a certain amount of times in certain areas to kind of like pack up and leave, which I thought was really humane and nice of them, because in Los Angeles they kind of just boom boom boom, you're not supposed to be here, and like just kind of drag their tent and push it out, or like San Diego. So I understand there's different laws for different reasons in different places, but I thought it was really humane for Portland to at least give the people who are houseless some kind of heads up and stuff. So anyways, that's like day two, day one, yeah, like a full day one, going out, doing that thing, blah blah blah. I called him, letting him know what was going on. He was saying he was, doing some things with his dudes and stuff like that. So if I could just post up, he'll give me a call. I ended up going to the Denny's, and I was sitting down there. I was like, no problem, nilly willy. I ended up getting kicked out of the Denny's because the night before I was going to order like a small plate, and the woman was like, order whatever you want, I got the bill. And I'm like, you know what I mean? And she's like, just order whatever you want. So I kind of listened to her. Like, a regular human being would be like, why is she just telling me get whatever I want? She's gonna pay for the bill, and then she's telling me to shush. That would be like a red flag. But like I said, along this journey, along this like faith journey with God, there has been time where angels intervene in certain points for certain times for certain reasons. It's uncalculable to my human brain what happened, but when I spoke about it to another friend who's like on her spiritual journey, she was like, Chelsea, that woman must have been involved with bringing women to this guy's house and like making you feel comfortable and chill, like, yeah, I'll pay for the bill and everything like that, so that way you could be comfortable and chill and like go with them. And I'm like, oh my God, you could be right. So she didn't want to talk to me, and she sent another young girl in, and she was like, my manager said that you didn't pay for your bill, so you're gonna have to leave. And I was kind of embarrassed, so I lied and I said that I did put a bill, to make it look like maybe somebody took the bill. But I don't know, now I'm thinking like maybe that was a thing, like in case anything that would have happened, it was like a thing where they wanted to cause a distraction or like a negative view on a certain person. So if you act out and you go to that certain location, everybody's gonna be against you. Does that make sense? Like, if you didn't want to do what he did, like they helped you, they gave you a helping hand, but if you didn't want to do what he did and you came back to the same area asking for a helping hand, they wouldn't give it to you because you didn't do what he did. Does that make sense? I know it sounds crazy, bro, but this is my testimony. I went through this. I experienced this. I'm not sharing this testimony for anyone to believe me. I'm sharing it to get off my chest, and for anybody else who's going on their spiritual journey, their healing journey, this freaking process, which is like, whoa. Okay, so I ended up leaving and everything, and the dude called me and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, Denny's, I'm coming through. And I said, nah, they actually kicked me out, boo boo boo. And he's like, don't worry about it, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna talk to them, who was it, and blah 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 blah. So it seemed like, he had some type of power or authority in the community or whatever with other people. But I was like, no, OG, just don't worry about it, man. I just want to stay out of the way. I'm just passing through, and I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. So he was like, all right, well, we'll take care of that, we'll get that bill taken care of and everything. And I was like, okay, cool. So we ended up going back to his house, and this was night number one, day number one, and it was the next day of a full day. And all of a sudden there was an older woman that came, and he kind of introduced me to her and everything, and he's like, all right, we're gonna be over here. And he's like, do you want to come inside? I'm like, no, gee, I'm chill out here. I was just pretty much drawing up my boundaries and letting him know, I don't know what you got going on in there, but I'm not gonna be there. You know what I mean? And like really doing my best, was being like nervous and shit, but also feeling like this calmness, right? So it's like, okay, cool. He goes, does his own thing. He's inside with the room with this older woman. Mind you, his younger girlfriend is not there. Goes inside, does his thing with this older woman or whatever. They are in there for like hours, like 2 hours or whatever. At first the door was open for like the first 20 or 30 minutes or so, and then he closes the door, and I'm like, oh my God, awkward. I want to not be here, because if he has any type of plans, I am not going inside. Loyal to the soil, we need one thing at a time. Then there's not like one thing at a time and then another thing no, that's not how we do things. And now I'm thinking about somebody specific, and I see a heart. But moving on, let him hear, did not see, prayed Jesus, bed, do you see, ignored and trusted, four corners. It's a whole like message in that, but that's like only for me, and like yeah, it's not gonna make sense to everybody. Michael protection. So yeah, you know, like an hour or so later, she comes outside. He's like, hey shorty, I'm gonna like, he was talking to me and like saying he's gonna go like do some errands or whatever, and the girl was gonna stay there. And I was like, okay, cool, like this your place, like thank you for telling me. I was just like, okay. And she was sitting down there in the chair and stuff like that. And then we ended up started talking or whatever, and he was gone for quite some time, almost an hour or so, and it was already getting later in the nighttime. And then she was like talking, and then she was like she's gonna go to our house and get some water, get some cigarettes or something. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then he ends up coming back a little while after, and he's like, did she leave already? And I was like, I guess so. And he's like, man, I've been trying to get a hold of her. He started like he was trying to get rid of her, and he started like talking down on her and stuff, and like saying like she didn't want to leave him alone, and like she didn't want to give him his space and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, you grimy. You was just in there like buku bonky on her and like doing this and that, and then talking all this. So these are just things that I'm being mindful of, I'm being watchful of, right? So that happened and whatnot. And then he went out to do errands and stuff, and he's like, are you gonna stay here, hang out? And I was like, yeah, cool. And you know, he just told me kind of like the rules and regulations, if anybody comes, like, you know, just let them know he'll be back, kind of stuff. And I wasn't even trying to open the door in general, you know, just make a motherfucking knock and just not answer. And I was like, okay, cool. He went and did his thing, so that was nice. So that was going into night number 2 or night number 1. So that all happened or whatever. He stayed out pretty late, came back home pretty late, had some guests and stuff like that. He wanted them to hang out or whatever. They wanted to go do something else, so they just went on their way. And then I was closing down for the night, so I was going to bed and stuff like that. Again, inviting me into the room to like watch TV and stuff. I'm like, I'm good, OG. I don't really watch TV and sorts like that. I'm just gonna post up and chill. And he's like, oh, you kind of like to just like do your own thing, huh? And like be in your own space. And I was like, yeah, I spend a lot of time with myself. He's like, you just like to do your own thing. You don't like it when people tell you what to do. So those are just little things where like you would think that it's just side conversation, but it's really like a red flag comment. Like, I'm trying to tell you to come in this room and you ain't trying to come in this room, right? So I'm like paying attention to that or whatever. And then here comes day number 2. And it's the same process, doing the same thing, people coming in and out of the spot, me going, taking walks and stuff just to get out of the area, coming back. But I noticed by night number 2, I overheard him talking about not having any METH and running out of it. So he's like, you could feel his energy, like he's getting impatient, trying to call here, trying to call there, trying to like reload basically. And he's starting to ask different people or whatever. And for the past 2 days that I was there, people were asking him. So you know how that is if you've like been in that environment, like you just start going asking other people. And then he starts coming out in the living room area and spending more time outside and having more conversation, like, go get something to eat, like, you know what I mean, you're welcome to the pantry, you're welcome to whatever here, it's pretty cool. And then we're just like, music is playing and stuff, and I'm trying to be like respectful and like, you know, kind of pay attention while also being in my own bubble. And he starts expressing again how like, oh, you just like to do your own thing, you're quiet and stuff like that. And then he starts like making comments like, you see all the women coming in here, or all the people coming in here. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, there's a lot of women coming in here, huh? And I'm like, sure. And he's like, yeah, the women come in here, and you know, I have a lot of women friends, and they kind of do, you know, whatever I need them to do. And I'm like, okay. And I was already concerned because he didn't have his DRUGS. I grew up around DRUGS since early childhood, so I know how that is when people don't have it. They start acting like wilding out. And he started making those comments. He didn't have his DRGS, so I started praying. I'm like, fuck, like, he, you know, I could hear his thoughts, like I could psychically hear him saying like, I'm gonna get what I want, I'm gonna get mines. And you know how men are, if you say no or whatever, they're gonna really push. If they really want something, they're gonna really push, just almost to the point of forcing themselves. So this is night number 2. He's talking to me about getting food, and at that point I'm just saying no, no, no to everything. My intuition is like no, 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 say no, say no, say no. I was just letting them like I'm fasting, I don't eat certain things or whatever the case is. Just saying all these things to just kind of like, you know, make it not look suspicious or whatever. And he just kept commenting about like women coming in, doing his own thing, them doing their own thing, whatever the case is. And you know, his phone is going off every here and there. A family member called him. He started getting impatient with them, started yelling, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like praying, I'm praying. And then like, you know, he's doing his own thing, going back and forth, like trying to figure his stuff out with his DRUGS. And he ended up coming in. And later on in that night, again, a bunch of people coming in, him wanting them to hang out, them wanting to go do their thing, basically like the same thing every night, just different people. And that night, something told me, like the Holy Spirit told me, this is going to be your last night here. That night, he kept pushing, like offering me food, offering things, and I kept hearing his thoughts so loud and so clearly, like I'm gonna get what I want. And I just started praying. There was nothing I could do. There was no way that I could talk to him. I just felt like I didn't know what to say to him anymore. So I just started praying and praying and praying and praying. He gets like a phone call. He goes into his room. I just started praying and praying and praying and praying. I was calling Jesus in. I was like, Archangel Michael, protect me. And tell me why all of a sudden this guy starts listening to worship music. Fucking 11, 12 o'clock at nighttime. And all of a sudden he knocks out. Like after I just started praying, and I'm like, I pray that I speak the name of Jesus in this home. I pray that I'm protected. I claim that I'm protected. I call Archangel Michael in to come and protect me, to shield me from harm, and just praying and praying and praying and praying. The dude never came out. He started playing worship music. Never heard him listen to worship music the 2 nights and 3 days I was there. Never heard him listening to worship music. Merc. Bro, because all throughout that time that I was in Portland, Oregon, there's missing poster signs everywhere. Even in his apartment, there's missing poster signs. Women, young men, young kids, missing poster signs everywhere. And I'm just like, fuck, bro. Like, what are you doing, Chelsea? Like, what are you, for real? What are you doing? So yeah, he ended up knocking out, dude. And I just felt this peace. Like, I didn't want to go to sleep that night. But I just felt this peace after I slept. And I just knocked out myself. I just literally knocked out. Once I like heard him snoring and heard him like knocked out and felt that he was like out, I just knocked out as well. And he was literally like frantic and all over the place an hour or two earlier than that, trying to find his DRUGS because he ran out. And all of a sudden he's like knocked out. Like, that's the Holy Spirit right there. And then I knew already, like, the Holy Spirit was like, this is the last night you're gonna be here. The next morning he had an attitude. Like, I woke up, whatever, he woke up, he's eating and stuff. Hey girl, get some grits and stuff. He wasn't offering. He was like, get some grits or whatever. I was like, nah, no thank you, OG. I don't eat those type of things right now, whatever. And then I was letting him know I was gonna go take a shower real quick, and he's like, are you gonna take long? My girl's coming. Here she is calling right now, and you kind of can't be in the shower when she comes and stuff. And I felt the vibe that he was pushing me out, so I wasn't fighting it because I was like already like gonna go the night before. So I was like, no problem, I'm just gonna go in real quick. And you know, I just took advantage of it, just like so I could be clean and stuff like that. I've been outside and all sorts, and it's like when you're outside, you know, I'll be using wipes, or I don't be showering at all, and I just be changing my clothes. So I like get into the shower and everything. I get outside, he's gone. And I just book it, dude. I just like pack all my shit, and all my shit was pretty much packed. And I just locked it all up, secured it all, and I just booked it. And I just left, and I didn't even do nothing. I just made sure his place was closed. I ran straight outside. I went into the elevator, and I went downstairs, and I booked it outside, and I just walked as fast as I humanly possibly could. I just kept walking fast because he was well known in the area, so you don't know like who he knows or what's going on around or whatever the case is, you know. And I felt the vibe in that morning. He was like, my girl's coming, you can't be in the shower like that and stuff like that. He never told me that the few days before that. The girl saw that I was here, so it was just like a thing, like because I was saying no to him, or I was closed off to him, that he was pissed off because I wasn't giving it up. And I intuitively and like psychically heard him saying in his brain, like, I'm gonna get what I want, I'm gonna get mines and shit. I'm like, But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. This world is grimy, and like the truth is coming out about like TRFFICKING, the sex industry. It's very real, and it's a very popular industry. And I'm saying it's an industry because it's a business. Like, people real life, like, that's their job, like, to sell themselves and to be the one selling and being sold, etc. So I ran. I'm like, where am I gonna go? I need to make funds to go to the airport. I need to get to Seattle. Like, I'm just trying to get to my end destination on this journey and call it quits. And it's like, after some point, I was just kind of rushing to complete the journey, that I wasn't even present in it. And I'm not even gonna get mad at myself or judge myself for not being present in the journey, because nobody in my family ever has done this that I did, traveled throughout the country without a job or without having a secure place to go. There were some places where I had places and spaces to go, but for the most part it was me. Nobody taught me how to do this. I didn't study how to do this. I just kind of like, boom, took the leap, did the thing, and just went. And so I ended up stopping next to the bus station, and I just bursted out crying. And I just kept crying, and I kept crying, and I'm like trying to control myself and try to breathe. Like, I'm unlearning like to frantically like cry and scream and yell and get angry and stuff like that, because like Choro people, and like, they got anger problem, bro. Or like, when we cry, like, we really cry, like, we feel it in our heart. And that's another thing about the people like Pacific Islanders. I really believe that our emotions are a superpower. Our nervous systems, our emotional regulation, it's so important, because a lot of us are very sensitive people, and growing up, the culture taught us that was weak, or that we shouldn't do that because people are going to take advantage of that. And that could be true in regards to people taking advantage of it, but there's nothing weak about embracing our emotional intelligence and expressing it in certain points when it's safe or healthy to do so, because people do clock that, and they do take advantage of that, and they see like how you are and sorts like that. But that's why I knew I was supposed to go through that experience, so I can discern, and I could be strengthening my emotional intelligence, I could be strengthening my discernment, I could be strengthening my nervous system. So I ended up, I don't know if I called my friend or she called me. I think she called me, and she was like, hey girl, I just want to check in and stuff. And I just let her know what's going on. And she was like, Chelsea, it's literally like you were in like the belly of the whale for Jonah. And I looked up this Bible verse here. It says Matthew chapter 12 verse 40. And it says, for as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the whale, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. And the website that I was looking up, it was basically saying that we had to go through adversity. Like, Jesus took his walk, and then Jesus had to be crucified, and then he died 3 days and 3 nights, and then he rose again, right? That was the physical explanation of being in the belly of the whale, the 3 days and the 3 nights, being persecuted, to be resurrected again. But spiritually, and the way we're viewing it now in these times with Christ consciousness, it's like a spiritual death for a spiritual rebirth. So it's like that really toughened me up and thickened my skin to say no, because I'm always like, sometimes I'm like so shy or afraid to say no, because I don't want people to feel bad, or I don't want people to think like, oh, you're not accepting my offer. But like, no, like, you need those boundaries. Like, this is life and death we're talking about. This is not like, hey, do you want some empanada? Like, okay, I can say no, like, I'm not eating empanada right now. They'll be fine. Like, if they think like, oh, they don't want my food, that's fine. That's okay, bruh. Go and be like upset because you think we don't want to eat your food. But if it's something where it's like what I went through and I said yes, like, no, that's life or death. I would not recommend that to anybody. I was she was like so this 3 days and 3 nights, it was like a death and a rebirth. It was also a death to like me doubting my intuition, right? Because that first night I prayed and I was like, should I do this and stuff? And I got good signs. But also, that was like a death and a rebirth to my lack mentality, my poverty mentality. Like, if I really believed in God, if I really believed in my ancestors, I would have took the money that I did had and used it in the hotel, regardless of how many hours I was going to be there or what, trusting and knowing that the next day would be covered, instead of hyper focusing, or instead of putting myself in an unsafe situation where anything could have happened. Anything. Like, that whole apartment, there was missing poster sign outside, missing poster sign. But there was just this spirit, this spirit of confidence that I should do that. And there's no way for me to explain it. I'm not making an excuse like, oh yeah, I was really being cheap. There was really like this calmness that came over me, and that is like a part of my testimony, right? And so I was crying. I was telling my friend, like, honestly, like, I feel emotional, and I feel like that was really scary. But my tears, like, of myself went, like, after I cried it out for a good minute or so, I was still crying, but I felt it wasn't my energy. So I was telling her, this must be the sadness and the energy of the women that, like, are missing here. Because I knew for sure, like, once I get a good cry out, I'll be okay. Like, I need like a little moment, get my crying out, and I'll be okay for that moment. If I need to cry again or whatever, it'll come up, that's fine. But I was telling her, like, I feel like this is not only my energy, I feel like this is like the sadness of the other people who are missing. And she was validating me pretty much, and she was saying, you could be right, that could be true, because you don't know how many people are missing and stuff. And they didn't even have the opportunity like you to just kind of walk out like you did. And I was like, I was kind of like putting myself down, and I was like, fuck, like, why did I put myself through that situation? Like, oh my God, like, things could have been different. But she was like affirming me, and she was calming me down, and she was like, but look though, like, you're out and it's fine now, and we're talking about it, and all of this literally, like, so now though, like, it's crazy, but this is what it be. This is like the life of healers. This is the life of like spiritually ascended people who can see and who can hear. This is the life of shamans. This is the life of, people who build that relationship, prophets, anointed ones who build that relationship with God, who are chosen. I didn't choose. Like, people look at me and they talk to me as if I'm stupid, and I don't even say that word. I don't use that word because it's such a low vibrational, like, lack of intelligence word. But they truly, like, look at me like I'm stupid. Like, you think I'm willingly out here, like, putting myself in houselessness, putting myself in poverty, not having money, putting myself in these unsafe situations. But this is the journey, this is the call, and not everybody's going to answer the call, not everybody's going to get the call, not everybody's going to walk the walk they're being called on. And it's just like, after the fact that I think about it, is like, the Holy Spirit was really there to just really strengthen me and solidify, like, this is good, this is safe, this is okay. So that's that, and that was crazy experience. But that's why I titled it 3 Days in the Belly of the Beast, because it took me three days but 2 nights. And this is why I was saying, along my whole journey, Mother God didn't allow not one hair to be touched on me. There was so many stories I have to share with you guys about this. It's just amazing, but also crazy, but also like, what the F happened? But also, it's a miracle that I'm still alive, because the things that I did, there was a lot of people who didn't walk out alive. There was a lot of people who didn't walk out untouched, but I did. And I just want to speak the Holy Spirit, Archangel Michael, because now I feel like, jinxing, like saying that and jinxing, like if something does happen, maybe something. No, I'm speaking the Holy Spirit, Archangel Michael, protection. My ancestors are here with me. I'm protected, I'm safe, because I'm still recovering, having confidence, and feeling safe in my body and my environment, yo. Like, I be looking and watching, because this shit is real. But that's my little spiel for today in regards to my in good faith journey, sharing like the belly of the beast. And I share all of this just to be a testimony for anybody out there who's listening. If you feel like you did certain things and you went through certain experiences, and it could have been scary, it could have been hard, you probably got hurt, and you're like questioning God, and or maybe you're angry with God and you're asking why God allowed you to go through those things. Just really take a step back after you're done getting frustrated and upset, because it's not going to be in that moment that we're upset and frustrated and worried and frazzled, we're not going to see the purpose, right? But when time passes by, you're going to start to see why God allowed you to go through those things. And like I said again, God allowed me to go through that experience, so for one, I have the abundant mindset, like, hey, if you have the funds and you need something like a safe space to stay, like a hotel, invest in it. But also, if you don't have the funds and stuff like that, and somebody offers you a space and they're a stranger or whatever, trust that like God is there with you. And I felt a hesitancy to say that, a hesitancy, because I just don't want anybody going out there doing the things I'm talking about. Please don't do that. Please don't go out and take a chance and take a leap and do the things that I'm talking about. These specific experiences that I'm talking about, these experiences were assigned to me. This is not something that everybody is called to do. This is not something that everybody will do. So please don't hear these stories and experiences and just kind of go out and just jump out into there. Always make sure you're safe. Always make sure you're experienced. I have so much experience with doing this thing. I've been doing it for the past 12 months. So I strengthened my intuition. I strengthened my safety and security and my survival skills. I strengthened like my relationship with Mother God and the Holy Spirit. Even though I'll be real with you, sometimes I was yelling at them and I was like, why are you putting me in this position? All of that counts. God understands your anger. God understands our frustration. God understands our needs, and etc., etc. But please, not everybody is called to do these things that I'm doing. Not everybody is meant to do it. So don't think that this is normal. There's nothing normal about it. And I'm starting to accept that and acknowledge that myself. But the reason why I'm sharing is I want to be of encouragement that if you may have already went through something, or you're going through something and you're wondering why this is happening, it's always for a greater purpose and reason. And you may not see it in the moment, but when time passes by, and if you still got breath in your lungs, if you still got life in your heart, just know that you're still here for a reason. You're still here for a purpose. And I know sometimes that's annoying to hear, and we get frustrated hearing that, because we're like, nah, but we still went through that thing though. Like, we still literally lost a tooth out there. Like, we literally like almost lost our lives, but we're still here. And that doesn't dismiss your pain or your frustration. It doesn't justify what happens, but it's true facts. Like, at least for me personally, I'm looking as like, yo, but you still got breath in your lungs to tell the story. You still got a heartbeat in your chest, and you're still here. So that's that. And I want to close with a Bible verse here, and I thought it was beautiful. Besides Matthew chapter 12:40, you guys should definitely read that. And it's cool because I'm also studying Matthew right now. This is when Jesus literally traveled throughout the country, the world, to preach and to heal people as well. So just as much as I say my in good faith travel journey has been to not only heal the lands but to heal myself, like, it's the same. Like, I always literally said, like, this is my Jesus walk, and I never knew what that looked like the first year doing it, but now I'm starting to understand, and things are still coming into play. So whenever I get frustrated, or whenever I get doubtful, or whenever I get confused, and whenever other people's energies are coming in, like, like, what are you doing? What is this looking like? What is the shift? What is the change here? I just have to have faith and believe in what's going on and trust in my process, because the work that I'm doing is generations of healing, generations of trauma, generations of abuse, not only to the people but to the land as well. So the healing process, the understanding process, the awakening process is not going to be overnight. It's not going to be over a month. It's not going to be over a year. And just as confidently as I say that to you guys right now, I'm still learning to have that confidence, that trust, and that faith in it. The reason why I'm saying it right now is because I want to be a testimony and of evidence that even in the process, God is still utilizing us, and God is still asking us to be a vessel for other people, to be that evidence. So I will close with Matthew chapter 13, verse 16. It said, "But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Truly, I say to you, many prophets and righteous people longed to see what you see and did not see it, and to hear what you hear but did not hear it. So that again is just another confirmation. As I was writing this podcast out, that Bible verse came to me, Matthew chapter 13 verse 16, and also John 3:16, which is Matthew 3, because I'm utilizing numerology. Matthew 3 or John 3:16, the Bible verse is, Mother God was I have sent my son something. Why am I not Holy Spirit? It's something about being a chosen one, and basically God choosing Jesus to be a vessel and to be of evidence. Why is this not Holy Spirit? Clear this, please. Now I'm feeling like this thing over here on my left head, and I don't like that. So cleansing, cleaning, clearing, put for blood. It's just like when you start shining your light and living in your truth, the enemy or low vibrations, they be seeing that shit and they be trying to come through, trying to like fucking distract and manipulate and shit like that. But that's okay, because God also gave me another Bible verse where he was like, it doesn't matter, because of the word that I spoke of you, you are already clean, like it is done. So we will go through trials and tribulations. That's what I'm saying. Like, this spiritual journey, it's not popular, it's not a trend, it's not fucking easy, it's not something that everybody can do. This generational curse breaking, people be talking about, I'm a generational curse breaker and shit, but they still be in toxic relationships, sleeping with toxic people, doing toxic things, living a toxic, unhealthy lifestyle. And I'm not saying like it's gonna be perfect or we expect you to have it all figured out, but it's like you're talking about this, that, and the third, and you still crying because your mama trauma, you still crying because your father wounds, you still being angry and shit like that because you don't know how to regulate your emotions and you don't know how to calm down your nervous system. This is not like a joke, bro. But this was just confirmation, like, blessed are your eyes, because prophets, righteous people long to see what you see. They long to hear what you hear, but not everybody heard it and not everybody saw it. And that's another word of encouragement that I want to share, is like, when you're going on your journey, everybody's gonna think you're crazy. Everyone's gonna think you're cuckoo. Everyone's gonna believe that you're losing it. I've had confirmations that I've had family laughing at me, judging at me, teasing me that I'm houseless, teasing me that I'm begging for money when I wasn't begging for shit. I was every dollar I earned. I came on social media, I spread my testimony, I shared my word, I created my podcast, I make encouraging videos, I open up the podcast, I open up mentorship. All of that GoFundMe was a donation-based thing if people appreciated my story and they wanted to support me. And people did. That's why people are going to think you're crazy. They're not going to see, they're not going to understand, they're not going to hear, and they're not supposed to. Because God didn't show them the map. God didn't give them the vision. God didn't give them the word. In fact, the word and the message and the vision is only going to be for a select people. Everybody else, God is watching to see how they're treating you. People are over here praying, God, please send in somebody to help me. Please send in my lover. Please send in my family, my soul family. And then God watches the way you treat people when God sends certain people in. Oh no, not them because they're like this. Oh, not that job because it's like that. Oh no, not this family because it's like this. So God is testing us every single day. And God has been testing me too. Like, be very mindful of the way you treat people. It could be a houseless person, could be the richest person alive, and you never even know it. You treating them like shit because they have shitty clothes on, they're living outside in a tent, and you never even know. You be over here asking, God, please send me financial breakthrough, financial assistance. And you never even know if that homeless person was just doing a social experiment, or they were just waiting to bless somebody with $10,000, but they wanted to see who was going to treat them the best, looking like they were homeless. Or like you be praying for, God, please send me a love, please send me a partner, please send me my kingdom spouse, my kingdom husband, my kingdom wife. And then when God sends somebody in, you missed it because you're too busy looking at this, that, and the third, thinking that's what you want when you know it's not what you need, etc., etc. But anyways, Matthew chapter 13 verse 17, and the last verse I got for y'all is Matthew chapter 13 verse 8 through 9. So it says, other seeds fell on good soil and produced grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears, let him hear. So this was the chapter where it talks about God planting their seeds, and some of it fell on the wayside. It didn't sprout. Some of it didn't have enough soil, so it didn't root and it withered away. Some of it didn't have too much sun, or some of it had too much sun, so it got burned and stuff like that. But there were other seeds that fell on good soil and produced grain, such as 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears, let him hear. And I feel like God was just telling me that these experiences that I experienced on my travel journey, they were seeds of faith, because I call this my in good faith, right, journey. These were seeds of faith. These were seeds of experiences. These were seeds of testimony. And I may not have seen how some of it, I may have looked at it like that didn't work out for me. It fell on the wayside. I didn't bear any fruit. Or, oh, this one has vines over it, I can't touch it. Or this one didn't have a lot of soil, nothing grew. But God is saying, I utilize everything, because when you throw seeds on the ground and you don't put it deep in the dirt, what happens? You learn that you have to put a seed deep in that dirt in order for it to sprout and grow. When you throw seeds where all the vines are, you learn that even though those seeds sprout, there's going to be all these vines and all these bushes and all these other things trapping your plant from growing out healthily. So you know not to throw those seeds where they got vines and everything. If there's an area where it's too much sun or too much rain, but you threw your seeds there, next time you know, don't throw your seeds where it's not, the environment is not weather friendly for your seeds. So oftentimes we believe like, well, that was a waste of time, that was a waste of experience, that was a waste of energy. But God, that was like, these were seeds that God was showing me. Even the seeds that don't bloom, even the seeds that don't root, even the seeds that don't fruit, is for a purpose and is beneficial, because it's teaching us what not to do, or it's teaching us how to do better next time. So I'm gonna end it there, y'all. I was like thinking that it's gonna be like 30 minutes. That's cool. I think we went like almost an hour or something. Let me see. Oh, an hour and 6 minutes. So I'm gonna end it there. I hope that this podcast episode really encouraged y'all whenever you guys are in the belly of the beast, of the whale, quote unquote. Mother God will never leave you there for too long. It's only for a short season, for a short period, and for a reason. And I also hope that these Bible verses or my lived experiences could encourage you. Like I said again, please don't try to go out and do the things that I was doing specifically, or anything drastic. Not everybody is going to get that call. Not everybody is going to get that mission. And also, if you do something similar to what I'm doing, please ensure that it's something that God is calling you to do specifically. Please ensure that it is something that you have practiced, you have studied, you prayed about, you fasted about, you feel that confidence in. Don't just do things out of, just because other people are doing it. We want to make sure that everybody is safe and secure out there. If you guys want to know how to support me, I do have my links in my bio. I have paid services, like I'm offering tarot and energy readings. I also have mentorship services out there. We also got the In Good Faith jewels, y'all. I'm wearing some of the In Good Faith jewels. These are the bracelets that I created, inspired by my In Good Faith travel journey. I made this on my own with a $14 kit from Amazon. It's not the fanciest, jewel and material, but it is of quality. I have been wearing it for about a month, almost 2 months now. It is of good quality for the price. It is clay beads and letter beading as well. They are going for $15. Everything is linked in my bio, and when you pay, the payment goes directly to my GoFundMe to act as a savings for my journey. Okay, so my GoFundMe is going to act as a savings for my safe shelter, and also eventually housing or whatever is coming up next in the travel. But basically the GoFundMe is as a savings account. I do want to be mindful to the things that I'm sharing and the information that I'm sharing out there, because I know that there's energies out there that don't want to see us prosper. But I feel confident that Mother God has been calling me to share my story, my testimony, and my process to some extent, because there are other people out there who are taking that leap of faith. There are other people out there who are doing things out of the ordinary and out of the regular. So Mother God has been calling me to share that story, to share that process, to encourage you as well. Like, hey, if you're being called to move away from your regular 8-to-5 job, and you can either, one, adjust your lifestyle to make it affordable, or two, have another way of income and stuff, go ahead and do it. Trust in God, trust in the ancestors, trust in yourself. This is something that I've been doing professionally for 2 years now. And along the way, I build my TikTok platform organically to 6,000 followers just for it to be banned. Spiritually targeted people is very real. Black magic is very real. I don't want to get into it too much, but that will be for another conversation. And I just got a motherfucking confirmation. 10-10, bruh. But completion, it is done. But these things are very real. So I encourage us to stay prayed up when you're on a mission, when you're a chosen one from Mother God and the ancestors. And I know a lot of people have been throwing that title around, and I used to be a little insecure, or I used to kind of not believe not necessarily believe that I was a chosen one, but I'm normally somebody who would rather be in the background. I'd rather be quiet. I'd rather let everybody else go up and be on the camera and get that shine and everything. But my ancestors and Mother God is like, nah, bro, we need you front and center, because first of all, there be some hypocrisy going on. Second of all, they be some fake ass motherfuckers up here. And third of all, we need the real deal OGs to let them know what's good. So I'm like, damn. So I'm still learning what that means. But yeah, if you guys want to support the journey, we got the In Good Faith jewels here. This was all handmade for me, $15. Everything is going to my In Good Faith GoFundMe adventure. Also, if you guys can't invest monetarily, you guys also have free ways that you guys can support me. I got the Social Progress Podcast on YouTube and Spotify. If you can help me meet my goal is to get 50 subscribers on YouTube. You can subscribe for free if you feel like the podcast is something you're interested in. I'm also one of my goals on Spotify is to receive 100 streamers on the Spotify as well. So this episode is going to be uploaded over there. I'm about to go download it right now on the computer. I have other stories out there that you guys can stream. You guys can follow my platforms, engage with my platforms, share my videos, like my videos, comment. You know what I mean? Save it. Y'all know what to do. We've been doing this social media thing for so long. That's why I'm like not necessarily pushing like, comment, share, and all that stuff, because if people really liked it and appreciate it, they would share it, they would comment, they would whatever. And I know sometimes like people are like, you keep on talking about like, you know, your child molestation and RAPE and this travel journey and stuff. This is like real life. And I'm not just saying it like my family members talk to me and they're like, when are you going to get over it? I've healed that hurt, that pain. I've forgiven the people who abused me. And in fact, there's also revelation, spiritual revelation of more hurt that happened when I was a child that I forgot in my brain that is coming up again. But I repeat and I continuously advocate for child molestation. I continuously advocate for RAPE. I continuously advocate for encouragement to take a leap of faith, because people are going through it. Like, I've barely been on island for less than 2 weeks, and I already see how the culture is like, did you hear about that teenager that's missing in Saipan? Yeah, I'm praying that she probably ran away with her boyfriend. And like, come on, bro. Like, that just pisses me off low key, because it could be valid that she ran away with her boyfriend, but what if she ran away from her family? What if she was being suicidal and they were judging her? What if she was trying to reach out for mental health and the culture is, mental health, you kids these days are so lazy, you kids these days are so sensitive. Yes. Not a lot of people see. The children that are being born into these times, they're highly intuitive, they're highly activated, meaning their spiritual gifts are an all-time high. They don't need to go through the near-death experiences like we've gone through. They don't need to go through the trauma and the drama like we've gone through. Their gifts are highly intuitive. It's highly activated. They're highly sensitive children, and that's not nothing weak or soft or negative. That's emotional intelligence. That's like magic. And because they see things, they feel things, they know things. They're empaths. They can see the intentions of people. They can feel the intentions of people. It's just a whole thing. So it's like I could already see the culture, and it's just like my dad the other day was talking about, well, girl, don't you know that RAPE is in our history, and it's kind of just something that happens and something we have to... No, don't even say it, bro. I will get out of this vehicle and walk right now. And I want to be understanding, and I want to be compassionate to the culture and the things that we experienced during the wartime and after. But at some point, I need better than that. We cannot have that mentality like, oh, this happens in our culture, this happened in our history, so this is something that just happens. They say that to the young girls too. When the girls get hurt, they say, the women say, well, this is something all of us had to go through. This is something all of us had to experience. We have to do it. No, we don't. No, we don't. Anyways, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother topic. But I'm just bringing it up because I've barely been here for less than 2 weeks on the island. And I already see how, like, not much has changed. But I'm having faith and compassion and hope because I do see change. I do see advocacy. But it's just this, I'm just seeing this big foot on the woman's head or the children's head, and it's like, this is the foot, the man, the patriarchy, and this is the children or the woman, and they're just stepping on him and stepping on him. And even if they show up and advocate, and even if there's awareness, and even if they create the social media posts, and even if there's prevention, and even if there's a hotline, it's just the culture, dude. It's just embedded in the culture where it's like, what happens behind closed doors stays behind doors, or it's just a part of our history, so it's something we gotta go through. Or automatically, again, the man was like, well, what if she wanted to go with the boyfriend? What if she wanted to do this? And it's like, I'm so intuitive and my spiritual gifts are so on point that it's like, sometimes with those type of things, I get agitated real quickly, and it takes a lot for people to get into my emotions. But it pisses me off, and it's not because people are pissing me off. It's because that's ridiculous, to just assume that, like, you know what I mean. But anyways, we're gonna close this off, guys. Please check the link in my bio, the link tree in my bio. I've been doing this for 2 years, and I've been being mindful of me mentioning it, but everything is turning professional. This is like my business. This is my way of life. It's all on here, and I'm trusting in Mother God. I'm trusting on the journey. I'm trusting in the adventure, and there's a lot of things that are owed to me that are incoming, but it's just a day-to-day process. So I say that to share it, to just, you know, be of good courage and just trust and know. And even in the moments where you're doubtful or you're guessing and all these other energies are coming in, because that's how I was this morning. I was kind of like, oh my God, so like I'm gonna go get a job and this and that and the third, and then I meditated and they're like, nope, that's not what it is. But so here we are. But everything is in my link tree in my Instagram bio only. I greatly appreciate you guys in advance. Like I said, again, there are paid services out there, but if you guys can't invest in that at this moment, there's also other free ways that you guys can support me. So who guys how I love you guys, and I will see you guys again. Peace.